in the SEC Conference. We're going to build the best football program in the SEC Conference.
You have now arrived at Stadium in Gale.
The kick, it's been blocked again! How about it? It's been blocked again! It's going to heat one deep down the field. It's going to be to the goal line. It's going to be gone! It's a touchdown! And the Gators have won the game! Tyree Cleveland! How about it? I can't believe what I just saw! Dropping back to throw. Thompson fires the ball over the middle. It's Dory! It's Dory! Got a touchdown! Dory got a touchdown! Oh, man! Dory's got a touchdown! Ahmad Black, in his final game as a Gator, takes it all the way home and sends Urban out the winner.
You have now arrived at Stadium in Gale.
Boys and girls, ladies and gents, welcome to another episode of Stadium and Gale. It's your favorite Uncle Silk.
It's Dan.
And Tori.
Top of the top, beautiful Monday morning. You know, great day to be a Gator in all kinds of weather and whatnot. How y'all boys' weekend was, man?
Dude, it was good, man. It was a relaxing weekend. Ran some errands Friday, was in bed early, woke up, did a yoga Saturday morning, and the rest of Saturday was just kind of cool, calm, and collected. We talked a little bit about it, but cool, calm, not 100% collected, but definitely cool and calm. Nick, how was your weekend?
Man, this is Dan, fourth quarter Dan, a lot less benders than the first three quarters of the fiscal calendar. So it looks like
pick back up on 12/29.
It does. We are getting into like holiday party season. I guess the DJs have not been hitting the pools in Tampa. I miss my guy Bender Dan.
Don't worry,
he'll be back. He'll be back.
New Year's resolution, Dan, these days.
Yes.
Done but not forgotten.
You gotta reset the Bender vibes for the new year, man. You can't step into 2024 with the shenanigans. You got to open it up. Her, you know.
That's right. So, Silk, how was your weekend?
A beautiful, man. Like great rainy weather. Didn't get out and do a whole lot. Just relaxation, bruh. So that was pretty much the vibes. Cozy. Fired up some wood in the fire pit. S'mores with the family. Like that type of vibes, man. Just happy to be inside with some gloomy weather. I'm washed.
Yeah.
Family man vibes.
Yeah, what was that? We had like a tropical wave come through. Kind of, it wasn't what I was expecting in December. They hyped it up here in Tampa, and shout out to the weather folks. I get it; they have to do what they have to do, but they hyped it up like we were going to get like the equivalent of a tropical storm. They're like, bring everything in. You're going to want to hunker down. Don't even think about going outside. We did. We walked around and did all that kind of stuff. The national championship for volleyball was happening at Amalie Arena here this weekend. So all these folks from Nebraska and Wisconsin and Texas were all in town. They didn't know what to do. They were just glad it wasn't a blizzard, but everything was safe here in the Bay Area. So hopefully everybody else was safe too.
Yeah, I hung out, got these bets in. Shout out to Hard Rock Bets. Got our first 6 bowl games on Saturday. NFL, it always catches me off guard when there's like NFL games on a Saturday. Our Miami Dolphins, another win, shutting out the Jets. I missed the Jags game. How'd they do? Primetime, everyone watching.
We're not a prime time. We're not ready for prime time. No, we actually had a relax.
What happened was
we had a Monday night game a little while ago. We're back on prime time. We got to earn those rights. I don't know. We're still learning. We got to get into the playoffs right now, man. So I'm vibing.
And then I was out doing recruiting, helping out Corey and Keith. Got to meet Will Harris. Nice guy. Seems very enthusiastic. I remember mentioning, hey, he doesn't have ties to the South, really, outside that 1 year of Georgia Southern. The guy was just on his phone the whole day. Got to talk to him as before he was heading back to California to pick up his stuff, bring it to Gainesville. So very enthusiastic about recruiting. Obviously, we'll get into it. Florida landed a guy and hitting the ground running. So shout out to Blake Alderman. He and I standing out there. It was like 60 degrees. 15, 20 mile an hour gusts of wind and raining. It's not a fun time. not a fun time.
It wasn't in the job description, Nick, but thank you for wearing that cap proudly. For
Team
all
guy.
of those that are listening, shout out to the hard work of the folks at On3, and we'll shout out Blake specifically. But great job, everybody. We got a lot of news to go through today. 3 big transfer portal announcements yesterday and today that were announced. We're going to talk a little bit about early National Signing Day, which is this week, and then finally, in about 50 minutes or so, we're going to be joined by former Florida Gators legend and state championship winning coach Cornelius Ingram, whose team, what'd you say, Nick, is on a 25-game win streak?
Yeah, baby, the Hawthorne. Really cool story. I'll get into it more there. But he took over a team that had like 14 dudes on the roster. It's a small rural school. They took it on the chin for a little while, but have won, I believe, 25 games in a row, back-to-back state championships.
Awesome. These former Gator coaches doing all right, man. Trikweze eating out there, like can't complain at all from that standpoint. Shout out to them boys.
Hell yeah. Well, let's get into a few pieces of housekeeping, then we'll get into the show today. We are looking for a presenting sponsor of the show. If you or your company think that might be a fit, we'd love to chat with you a little bit more. If you are watching on YouTube, please hit the thumbs up button there. Please hit the subscribe button, and please just engage in content. Last week's show got a little bit off the rails, and we loved it. So keep it up. Don't announce any transfers that did or didn't happen, or don't announce any commitments that did or did not happen, or decommitments for that matter too. Looking out to one specific person from last week. But other than that,
seeker.
Yeah, we got a lot of people here. So if you guys can hit that like button, it helps the algorithm, helps us share this show. So let's get into the show. The Gators did land 3 commitments two yesterday, and 1 this morning. So let's get into San Diego State offensive tackle Brandon Crenshaw-Dickson, who announced that he is going to be joining the Florida Gators from San Diego State University. He does have 2 years left to play. Over the course of his 3 years at San Diego State, started 20 consecutive games, 37 games overall, played both right tackle and left tackle, started all 14 games this season at right tackle. I believe he only had 9 quarterback hurries on the year and just 1 sack allowed. So, again, gentlemen, Gators needed definitely some offensive line help. It's probably not done or satiated the Gator Nation yet, but 6'6", 310 pounds. Gentlemen, your thoughts on Brandon Crenshaw-Dickson?
Immediate. He's played right tackle and left tackle. I think an immediate help to the offensive line. 3 years of experience. Spoke to him in person on Sunday, and I think the family atmosphere, he kept talking about that, said that was important to him. And then the second for him, I think, was the chance to play in the SEC. Not sure if this was his only SEC offer, but he was excited to get an opportunity to play in the SEC against guys who are proven and guys that will go to the league. You said he has 2 years to play. I think he has 2 years to play 1. He's coming here with the intention of playing well, staying healthy, and hopefully getting drafted after 24.
Well, wouldn't he have 2 years just because of that COVID year?
Yes.
3? Yeah. So
I guess he'd have 3 years to play. I'm ready for the COVID years to be done, to be honest with you.
They'll never end.
Feels like they've been going on forever. Like the way he moves. We're showing his film right here. If you're watching it on YouTube and not on Apple or Spotify, we're playing a little of his huddle film. I like his mobility and him being able to like get up to the second level and put a hat on, on linebackers and whatever. But I think it's a great improvement, and you get to push Damian George inside, who was abysmal outside. I don't know if he plays right tackle or left tackle. I know we also reached out to a former Gator that transferred last year as well. So upgrades has got to happen in the offensive line for these guys to have a chance at keeping their jobs. Just position of need. The streets was getting crazy over the weekend, saying that Billy was looking for a buyout. And the other SEC team that was in the works for this kid was Mississippi State. I have no complaints. I think it's a good
perfect.
get. Athletic tackle. Am I lagging? Athletic tackle that could get to the second level. Could play right or left tackles. Just give us some flexibility with the tackle position.
Yeah, no, a little bit of lag there, but no, you're exactly right. So again, the Gators desperately need help, pardon me, on the offensive line. The ability to go get good offensive linemen is very, very hard in the transfer portal. There's not a lot of available talent out there. I think when you look at the talent that's available, I think he's the 101st ranked player overall in the 247 rankings of transfer portal folks. But, there's a lot of quarterbacks, a lot of wide receivers, running backs that are going to take up a bulk of that. So getting a guy like him is a big improvement. The Gators desperately need help on the offensive line. The tackle spot was rough this year. The guard spot, you probably had a couple guys playing out of position as well. So Gators probably only had true 8 maybe offensive linemen. And I think a lot of Gator fans would probably disagree that there was even 8 available. So being able to go get a guy like him is huge for, building up what that team should look like going into next year. So you knew you needed help on the offensive line. You go and get Brandon Crenshaw-Dickson from San Diego State.
We struggle so much with just screen blocking. When we try to run screens, our offensive linemen getting in space, having to block defensive backs or linebackers, they struggle. This guy seemingly does well at both of those things, getting to the second level, being able to be athletic and blocking space. We're just missing athletic offensive linemen, and he brings that to the table. Yeah,
Pro Football Focus has him ranked as the 94th best tackle in the country this last year. His grade was a 71.8 this year. So he ranked 94th out of 626 tackles in the FBS last year. The year before, he was 85th out of 610. So
I think his PFF passing grade is pretty good. Pass blocking grade, sorry.
Yes, his pass blocking grade is an 80. He ranked 70th out of 590. And then on run blocking, he was 143rd. So a big gap there. So he was an 80 for run block and a 66.8 on run pass block 80. Sorry, run block 66.8. So pretty large difference there, but not as big of a difference as I might have thought when it came to overall ranking out of that group.
Yeah, you're gonna need depth. I think he is a guy that can start, but also it just gives you another. When I say depth, it's not just like, hey, you got a bunch of freshmen who aren't going to be ready to play, so you have depth, like available depth. So there's two difference. I think a massive difference in having roster number depth and actual ready to play on Saturday depth.
Yeah, 663 offensive line snaps this year.
That's a ton.
That's a ton of offensive line snaps. So, again, a great player, 6'6", 310 pounds, comes over from San Diego State. And I know San Diego State's not I think that they fired their coach this year. Brady Hoke was their coach. But a lot of good players have come out of San Diego State over the last few years. So hopefully Brandon Crenshaw-Dickson can fit right into this team. The Gators desperately needed help. You lose Kingsley Aguakin, a couple of other transfer portal players out of there. And then certainly you want a little bit more out of Damian George. And then just overall the offensive line as a whole desperately needs some additional folks. So whether he's a starter or whether he's a backup that plays a ton, the Gators desperately needed that help. So they go and grab Brandon Crenshaw-Dickson out of the transfer portal. Any thoughts on him? Go ahead,
Nick. How many? We were speaking of death. Shout out to the deaf. Cornelius Cromartie loves the way I say deaf and deaf. Whatever. How many pieces do you think we need at offensive line additions? We got 2 transfer portal windows between now and the spring one. How many do you think we need to get adequate depth for the fall?
So Brandon was hosted by Jake Slaughter, who's back, and Austin Barber, who a couple shows ago I said, hey, listen, this might be a kid who tests the NFL. According to Brandon, Austin Barber is coming back. So that's 2 tackles. If you can get another one, you'd like to have 4 tackles that you think can start and play. Obviously, it'll be interesting to see where Cam Waits plays. Do you want to slide him inside and keep him at guard? you want to slide him back outside to tackle? I look at Brandon and Austin as being your starting tackles, whether they're left or right. So you'd want 2 more of those. You get Jake Slaughter back. That kind of handles a guard spot. I don't know what Mike Mazuka's doing. I heard he was going to try to test the NFL waters. You got a little less than a month till January 15th. So like the depth there is good because I think Najee Harris will be ready to play and contribute. Obviously Cam Waits already mentioned, Mike Mazuka if he stays. Rod Kearney's another guy. So like they're kind of there. But if you get a guy who has 600 snaps, you would take him. So like the numbers are okay. You'll be fine if these are just the numbers. But if you can get a guy who can come into play and you think can challenge for a starting spot, you can take 1, 2 more.
So if you there's an offer that went out to Michael Tarquin, former Gator offensive lineman that transferred to USC. Sorry. Do you go get him? Because we look like we're kind of solidified with possibly starters at tackle spots. Is that a guy you still try to pursue heavily, or what do you think?
Yeah, I think the reason why, so like Tarquin got hurt, Austin Barber looked really good, and then they kind of split time. So I think there's so many narratives like, oh, he stunk, so Florida told him to leave. That wasn't the case. Clearly not the case because they offered him again. I think he had a better. I think he had a better opportunity NIL wise. I think USC was throwing a bunch of money at people NIL wise because they viewed it as we have 1 year Caleb Williams. Let's make a run at a national championship. And then he got benched, I think, towards the end of the year at SC. So he's looking for a place to play. Now, he's from Central Florida. Is it appealing to come back home? Or do you look and think, all right, well, I already had the split time with Austin Barber. Now there's another guy in here. Is there somewhere else that will just tell me, hey, you're going to be our starting right tackle. You're going to be our starting left tackle. So that'll be interesting to me. He also just got married, I think, right before last football season. So it's not going to be just a him decision. He's making family decisions now.
Already. Yeah, you got to bring him in. Shout out to my man Reese Collier in the comments. Competition is just always good. So we could get him in. If it's up to us, like I definitely think you pursue him. We'll see if we can, land him and get him back into the fold. But definitely would take him back. I don't know the people like, oh, he left. Like, what are we doing? We're weak. Nah, bro. This is a different era. You go get talent. You put talented guys on your roster, bro. Because when people get injured, the attrition is gonna happen. And if you don't have guys in the trenches to be able to fill in, that's what made Georgia a lot better than Georgia. The Bahamas is there's no fall off when they have a starter go out. If you have a starter go out and then you got true freshmen or redshirt freshmen you're trying to throw out there in the fire that's not ready, then you get what we had this past fall.
Yeah, we always say the difference between championship teams is not just their ability to stack talent as starters. It's their ability to have that depth behind them that when a player does go out there, there's not a huge gap between player A and player B. And obviously we saw that there's a huge difference between player A and player B for the Florida Gators this year. So again, a welcome addition. And, certainly, the Gators have an opportunity for him to come in and play a lot of snaps, whether that's as a starter or whether that's as a serviceable backup at both right and left tackle. Obviously a ton of experience doing both. So those are the kind of things that you look for out of these players. So that's a great get for the Florida Gators. He visited this weekend, committed right after his visit to the Florida Gators. The next commitment that the Gators got was not too much later after. It was Joey Slackman. He is the Ivy League Defensive Player of the Year from the University of Pennsylvania. He was the University of Pennsylvania's first Defensive Player of the Year since 2015. He had 50 total tackles, 12 tackles for loss, 4 sacks, has 1 year of eligibility remaining at the University of Florida. He left campus last week, and there was a lot of concern amongst Gator Nation about whether he would ultimately make that commitment to the University of Florida. He does. He takes a couple more visits during the course of this week and then does circle around. Nick, you're going to have to put yourself on mute.
Yeah, got the sniffles.
But he's snuffleupagus over there. He ultimately comes back, commits to the University of Florida, and a very welcome addition to that interior defensive line. So, Silk, what are your thoughts on Joey Slackman?
I've been saying we need a defensive tackle with some get off. We got some space eaters with Cam Jackson, my big man. Desmond Watson, Caleb Banks. We got space eaters, and I think that's a lot what they want. Like, I think that's the role of the defensive tackle. But when you're trying to pass rush and you're trying to collapse pockets, move the quarterback's lunch position, you need guys that can get off and do some things. I think Slackman fills that role. Great film. I love the film. His education resume is about to be off the charts with that Penn degree and that Gator degree, man. He's about to, if football don't work out, he's definitely gonna go pro in some other things. Sure.
Right? Yeah, it's Ivy League Defensive Player of the Year. I think I had heard that he had a really good visit 2 weekends ago. Still went on some visits, and I think the thought was, and I think we get wrapped up, not just saying pointing finger at fans, but saying even like us, we get wrapped in like, man, like a lot of these kids are going on a visit and shutting it down. And like portal recruitment is way different than high school recruitment. He's going through an injury, just had bicep surgery. So maybe his timeline was a little different. Maybe just a smart kid and wanted to see everything, see all of his options, make his Venn diagrams and positives and negatives. But when he left and didn't shut down the recruitment, I think we thought, here's Florida again, just bringing kids on campus to give them a free lunch and a free tour, maybe a free pair of Jordans, and then they go and commit somewhere else. So it's a good player, a guy who can, if not start, play starter snaps, and I think we saw how the reps between McClellan, Banks. Nah, not less to and less extent Watson, but Cam, I think we saw how they would play like 20 snaps each, 25, 30 snaps each a game, and really split, keep guys fresh throughout the game. So even if he's not a starter, first snap of the game, a guy that will play starter reps.
Position of need, bro. They filling it out. I think you lose Chris McClellan, who was at Colorado this past weekend, checking out Dion. He has a lot of interest, but you definitely elevate the room and the position with bringing that guy in with his experience, leadership. Just like dude can straight up play defensive tackle. He hasn't been playing that long. He's a wrestler and was doing some other things. I think he only been playing. He started playing college football, if I'm not mistaken, as far as a defensive tackle. So it's not a lot of experience there, but just pure brute strength and talent, man, that you just can't teach, and get off is one of those things, bro. Are we still waiting to see who that defensive line coach, which is impressive. We got a defensive tackle, right? Coach,
we're missing defensive tackle coach. You still have Peterson.
So we're missing defense. Okay.
Yeah.
So being able to get him without a coach is also impressive. That's one of the criticisms that's been coming from the fan base and everybody involved. Like, who do we get in at defensive line coach? Maybe this kid doesn't want to commit because he don't know who's going to be coaching him. But a few days go by, and then we get a hell of a Sunday. So shout out to Billy for addressing a need. He got a lot more work to do, I think, in the portal with bringing some talent in for Graham Mertz and some weapons, but great get at a position of need.
Yeah, no, and I want to give a quick shout out. JP said good morning it's a good morning to be a Gator, huh, fellas? No, some of them poison pushers are sick this morning. Go Gators. Thank you, JP, for the super chat.
That picture is wow.
a lot of poison pushing last week, especially after this visit, and I kind of alluded to back in June, the Gators had a bunch of recruits on campus. They didn't land any of them that week, and a lot of Gator Nation was upset. They said, where is this staff's ability to recruit, their ability to close? And then over the course of the next few weeks, I think you got 6 or 7 of those guys that committed. Joey Slackman comes to campus. You maybe try to shut it down. He goes to visit a few other schools. Maybe, Nick was talking Venn diagram, pros, cons. There's other reasons why kids are visiting schools now as well. You can read into that as much as you want. But ultimately, he circles back and joins the University of Florida. So, again, I think he's ranked pretty high on the transfer portal ranking, somewhere in the top 20, top 30. So, On3 has him ranked as the 15th best transfer in the country. So great get for the Florida Gators, and excited to see what he might be able to do. And then finally, we did get one more commitment. Let's give a quick shout out to our friends over at lucy.co. If you are looking for a nicotine kick. If you're looking to relax, if you're looking to vibe out a little bit more, look forward to lucy.co/stadium at checkout. So all sorts of great flavors. This flavor right here is cinnamon. Pretty good flavor.
Ooh, I didn't get cinnamon.
Yeah, you did not get a cinnamon. So go check them out. Lucy.co, mint, wintergreen, all the flavors that you can imagine that you've seen out there on the marketplace so far. So again, go check out Lucy.co. I've been a big fan. They started reaching out to us about 5-6 weeks ago. So really a great product to go check out. So again, Lucy.co/stadium. As always, important reminder to know that nicotine is an addictive chemical. Everything is age verified at checkout and for the users 18 years or older. So again, lucy.co/stadium. All right. Finally, the Gators landed from Oregon, a defensive back named Trikweze Bridges. Sorry, I want to make sure I was pronouncing it right. Trikweze Bridges, 6'3", 198 pounds, originally a 3-star prospect from the class of 2019. He is ranked as the 101st overall player in the 247 transfer portal ranking and the 9th best cornerback in this cycle. So only played 205 snaps this year compared to his 704 from the year before. Obviously looking for an opportunity to make an impact and come to the University of Florida. Is probably going to play more of that star type of corner that Jaden Hill played this year. So gentlemen, your thoughts on Trikweze Bridges?
Like to get originally from Alabama. Went out there with in Oregon, made some plays at the position of cornerback. Do like him at star safety, 6'3" guy, rangy. I think a good get. We'll see how it all plays out. Cornerback's a little bit tricky, but from the film I saw, the competition that you're against, Washington is a playoff team. They were after him pretty heavily. Yep. He took a visit out there and actually committed to us after that visit. So you like to be in competition with undefeated teams that's in the playoffs. But also another good get. Originally, when I seen us going after him and after we landed him, I'm thinking maybe he was a West Coast kid and Will Harris just had some relationships out there. But no, he's actually from Bama. There's some more defensive backs and some more guys that we're going to be going out there in the portal. I would like to know where our numbers is at, like what we got to push out to be able to go to get more aggressive in the portal. We could talk about that afterwards, but a very solid get at another position of need. We struggled at star and safety the last few years. Bringing in an athletic guy like him that has played corner, which I like. I like his tape at corner, wasn't bad.
Yeah, I
think corner's a little bit more tougher, being put on the island, having to cover guys with less amount of help as far as inside help that's coming from linebackers or safety. But he executed well out there. Dan Lanning liked him at corner. We like him at some other spots. So here we go.
Yeah, I like the safety nickel take. Hopefully, we talked about Jaden Hill, but if Jaden Hill leaves, that's a huge hole at nickel to fill. And unfortunately, this season will no longer go as Jaden Hill goes, as it has for the last quarter century.
Well, it doesn't mean that Jaden Hill's gone, right? And Jordan,
it doesn't.
Shout out to him. Does this mean next season, next year will not go as Jaden Hill goes? Who knows? But if your favorite NFL team drafts him, then your season will go as he goes, which probably is Super Bowl bound. But we don't know where Florida is recruiting him right now. He's played a lot of different positions all over that defensive backfield. He was the highest ranked Oregon player in 2022 on the defensive side of the ball, according to Pro Football Focus. And he was a third team all Pac-12, according to Pro Football Focus, last year in 2012 as well. So again, saw diminished stats in 2023. So hopefully for him, he's looking for an opportunity to make an impact. And we saw that the Gators desperately need some help all over the defensive backfield. So him coming in, and whether he starts, whether he plays a substantial amount, or whether he fills in a depth role, the Gators desperately needed help there. So again, you go and get another player that visited last weekend, takes some time away, goes to visit some other schools, notably Washington for Bridges, comes back, circles around, and the Gators able to grab him. So a lot of the complaining, a lot of the moaning, a lot of the just incessant like whining and complaining that's been happening on Twitter over the last couple of weeks, but really over the last week over the transfer portal seemingly gets a little bit nipped in the bud.
Yeah, I don't know who he got beat out by at Oregon, but clearly Oregon's a better football team than us.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't know what I get it. You know what I'm saying? Like, we brought in some
Wish
guys,
we could have got
like
the freshman transfer, but
RJ Moulton came in and just didn't do anything for us. I also wasn't high on his athleticism, but like I said, Washington is a playoff team. They got a good solidified roster, and they after this guy pretty heavily. So you want to be in. We're not in a better position than Washington either. So I like to get competition, just pulls out the best of everybody. I still like my young freshmen that were brought in through the recruiting class last year. Think highly of those guys. Think they're all going to pan out, but you need some older guys to push them too. Like nobody should have a layup to a starting spot. Everybody needs to go earn a spot this spring and fall.
Florida and Washington are in kind of in the same boat. Neither of them have a game the rest of the month.
We have a fashion request from my guy Jeremy Morris.
Yeah, Jeremy, Nick, can you turn your hat around? Nick is flexing that he went to the Masters. So you'll learn one thing about Nick is he's going to flex his Masters attendantship anywhere that he gets. So Chris Sorley says, I don't know how these transfers will launch Florida into a winning season.
Well, not getting any transfers.
Bro, Chris Sorley's a broken and beaten man. Like but before the fall, Chris was in here lying heavier than silk. Just pushing lies.
I think he's on the other side of the coin. I think I'm optimistic fan, and he's more.
I think Chris was optimistic.
Nick's optimistic.
Chris was pumping lies heading into 2023. He just got broken and beaten down. Chris, we need you back.
We need you back, Chris. It's the off season. Maybe it's lying. It's lying season. This is where we all thrive, right? Captain Swole here said Cam Jackson, Kelby Collins, TJ Searcy, Joey Slackman, LJ McCray. We could have something on the defensive line.
Yeah, on paper. That's a really, really good defensive line. You've got depth. You've got talent.
Yeah.
It's a good defensive line. Hopefully get him a coach.
Yep. Yeah. And then Cornelius Cromartie said the Pac-12 passing league, give me any DB out there. So obviously they throw a lot, like you said.
He's physical too. He can tackle a little bit. I like his tackle film.
Pac-2. Yeah. So solid additions there. So gentlemen, anything else you want to talk about of these three transfers that the Gators got?
I just need a number breakdown where we at. I want a realistic look at who we can bring in, how many people we could go get in the transfer portal, because we still got a recruiting class to bring in. You got to get that number to 85. You got a spring window. It's a lot of moving parts. I just want to know where we at number wise.
Well, the number is fake. 80, you don't need to be at 85 until fall camp. This staff is fine going over that number. Now, I on our message board, I was like, you can have 100 guys on scholarship. That's obvious. Yes, you can. You're going to have 15 very difficult conversations, with people and let it all sort itself out. But, the number's fine. If you're not telling a guy no, because it might put you at 86.
Good. That was the Will Muschamp way of doing things.
And that's
things have changed.
Things have changed, especially with the transfer portal and the way rosters are so fluid. Yeah. You could have 90 guys on scholarship heading, during spring camp, and you might have 7 guys who look at what happens in spring and go, I'm gonna end up watching this team play from the sideline. Let me go find somewhere else to go. And
if
then
they need me to be the Iceman, I can be the Iceman.
I think a lot of people are doing a great job at telling players that they don't want them on their Gators anymore. I don't know that they need you to jump in for that, Dan.
Yeah, well, I mean, but this is like in an official capacity.
Okay.
Eric Buholtz said, again, we're trusting the numbers here from a very open YouTube chat, right? But I'm gonna trust my guy Eric here that said we have 65 on campus right now, probably 19 in the class, 3 from the portal so far.
I trust a guy named Buholtz. Seems like.
And then Gator Don says Jacob Rudner, great guy, reports we're currently at 66 scholarship players with yesterday's pickups and had to add high school recruits.
And
then,
so we're going to be over, and that's fine.
And then 3 important graduation announcements: Jaquavion Frazier's, quarterback Miller, and Weston all graduated on Saturday. So congratulations, boys. That UF degree will take you far.
For sure.
Shout out to Eric Buholtz. I wonder if he's connected to the school in Gainesville. Maybe he is. I mean, maybe he's Gator lore, right? Gainesville lore. So that's what we've got there. So again, 3 big transfer pickups: an offensive lineman, a defensive tackle, and a defensive back. All 3 are what the Gators wanted. Let's look at some transfer portal destinations of guys that are currently in the transfer portal from the University of Florida. A lot of them have made their announcements. So let me just pull that up right now. As always, while I pull this up, if you're watching on YouTube, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, share it, tell all your friends, tell all your family that this is what you're going to base your Christmas and New Year's conversations off of, are these 3 guys right here. So make sure that they know so they can come prepared with some lies as well. So some announcements. Jordan Herman announced that he's going to be transferring to Charlotte. Kamari Wilson is going to be transferring to Arizona State. Princely Ume-Milan to Ole Miss. Jonathan Odom to Eastern Michigan. Caleb Douglas, Texas Tech. Max Brown to Charlotte. And that is all of the announcements that we have thus far. So Chris McClellan right now getting some, you got a recruiter prediction machine is what you guys call it out on 3. Arkansas, Oklahoma, Trevor Etienne, Georgia. Will Norman is still taking his visits. Miguel Mitchell still taking his visits. Hopefully he didn't miss the angle on his plane flight. So that's what we've got right now. So those are the names that you can be looking out for.
Nasty with the Georgia stuff, man.
Yeah. Let's see. Trying to see if there's.
I would like Georgia DB that entered the transfer portal though. They got
AJ Harris or
yeah. I know we're crying about ETN possibly going there, but this is a new era, and if we get to tone our 8 grab right and our Brenton Cox grab from Georgia with the AJ Harris, I wouldn't mind that take. Let's try to grab that if possible. This is just me speaking out loud. I don't know where we at in his recruitment.
Yeah, hopefully
have we reached out, Nick? Have we reached out, Nick? Do you know? We have?
Yeah, I think so. I think Auburn's moving heavy. I think
the hell Auburn got going on? They got that bag out, boy.
I guess
Auburn and Ole Miss.
Yeah, I saw somebody else mentioning Walter Nolan. Like Florida has, I think we have as good of a chance as Walter Nolan being our 4th podcast host.
Well, Walter Nolan's
get that boy a call, man.
Yeah. Ole Miss, it looks like, for Walter Nolan. Is that right?
I think Pete Nako's put in a RPM for him. But listen, Ole Miss, clearly they're like, hey, we're getting Jackson Dart back. Let's make some moves. Shout out to the Grove Collective. The Grove Collective has like more than 5,000 members. They've got a ton of corporate sponsorships. Lane Kiffin pumps that out. And they've got a ton of support.
They serious about it out there.
Tiny little town. The Grove Collective is one of the best collectives in the entire country.
Yeah.
And it's showing in the transfer portal.
Yeah. And that's and not to diminish that, but in
the recruiting classes buns too, though. So
yeah. But in 10
that's the thing. That's the thing too. It's been great. to watch people yelling at me and yelling at each other in the comments when all I'm doing is just saying, like, every day, hey, end of the day, here's the transfer portal numbers. And then that one got like 300, 400,000, the first one, impressions. And then I followed it up right away with also, hey, there's a correlation to your recruiting class and your transfer portal class. You see Florida, Georgia, Alabama at the time when I did the first one hadn't signed anybody in the portal, and these other schools had signed 4, 5, 6. I think Ole Miss is up to 9 now. But like Georgia has the #1 recruiting class and have nobody signing the transfer portal. I think they're going to get the Vanderbilt wide receiver. But like there's a correlation to what you're doing at the high school ranks and what you're doing in the portal. Ole Miss, I think their signing class is like 20, and that's why they're hitting guys in the portal. They think they can win this year, or will take a run at it in 2024, trying to win the SEC. So you're going to load up on portal guys.
It's interesting to see, and it's a deeper conversation on just where recruiting's heading as far as portal, high school, JUCO, all of that, and also development. Like how much resources do you spend on a high school recruit that may not, like, the chances are these guys sticking 3-4 years is slim to none these days. So I'm interested to see how everything kind of transitions as far as portal recruiting. We've seen Florida State make a run at it this past season to try to go. They went undefeated and failed. So shout out to them boys. I appreciate that. But they did make a run. They're looking at a favorable schedule, a solidified quarterback position, just throwing some pieces, some star power at certain spots with Brandon Fisk, Keon Coleman. They brought in some big-time portal guys to go undefeated this past year. So it's going to be interesting to see how all of it pans out, especially at the quarterback position. Teams are going to grab 1-year rentals at quarterback spot. Florida State's one of those programs. Lane Kiffin has been heavy in the portal with quarterbacks. Ohio State lost their quarterback McCord to getting, advantageous with trying to bring in a better arm. So like the trend is going towards less development at some of these spots and going and get guys with reps, even at a lower level at like Penn or like Brandon Fisk was at a FCS. They have reps and they can come in and provide some, immediate impact. So it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out.
And that's the thing. A lot of schools are still building through, and I think the way to build a program is through high school recruiting and supplement through the portal. Now, and people might say, but you're saying that Florida has to get portal guys. They need help. Yeah, like they need guys who can help them right now. And that might not be through. Yeah, or else that's where I'm coming from with the portal. I think if Billy Napier has 5 years, and I don't know that you get 5 years to be a 500 coach, then I think you're doing it the right way. But I think you need guys like Joey Slackman, like Brandon. I'm not gonna butcher his last name. Like Brandon, guys that can come in and play right away, right now.
Crenshaw-Dickson, Brandon Crenshaw-Dickson.
Crenshaw-Dickson.
Yeah, that was a pretty.
Shout out to his dad. Met his dad yesterday too.
Shout out.
Did he get married? Why did he hyphen his last name?
I don't know. Didn't ask.
Just kidding. It was a joke.
Small J journalism.
Small J journalism. There's another name that I know is popular just because we have 15 minutes before CI comes on. So I want to make sure that we get to him. Speaking of Brandon Crenshaw-Dickson, is his safety teammate, Marcus Ratcliffe, who has been committed to UCLA, but Florida and Texas A&M offered him a scholarship on Sunday. According to On3's Keith Niebuhr, he's been talking to Will Harris, the Gators' new defensive back coach, for a couple of weeks now. He's known him since he was at Washington, Harris, that is. And so he is potentially talking to the Florida Gators about visiting and what days might work, and then talk to his family about it. So 6'2", 184 pounds, 30 tackles, 1 interception as a freshman, would still have 3 years of eligibility. Is the number 11 ranked safety in the On3 transfer portal ranking. So he has a visit planned for UCLA on January 8th. So it might be around that time. But again, the Gators are at least kicking the tires on Marcus Ratcliffe. Silk, I know you're a big fan of Ratcliffe.
Yeah, I like Marcus Ratcliffe. He had a lot of years to play as well. He started as a true freshman out there. Impressive film in the box. Could play some star safety, linebacker. But very athletic guy, and committed to UCLA. If we could get him to come on a visit, we got to work these West Coast ties. His relationships out there, as far as Will Harris, he got to work his relationships on the West Coast. I know there's a John Bosco kid that he's interested in as well from the high school level, Jason Mitchell. We'll see how safety recruiting at the high school level works out, but relationships matter. He don't have a lot of East Coast ties, South ties, so we're going to see some West Coast names that he can probably move quick on and land that we normally wouldn't land. So we'll see how Will Harris works out. But I do like how aggressive he is. Just because he's committed to UCLA don't mean nothing in the portal. Mm-hmm. He's not enrolled, so let's get aggressive and try to get that kid here.
What's a commitment?
What
nothing
is it
these days? What's a letter of intent? Like nothing's binding anymore. I mean, now they changed the rules with the second transfer. Like you don't need a waiver for the second transfer, so nothing means nothing anymore.
So talking to Will a little bit on Sunday, like he hasn't even really gotten time to watch and when we say film, like they just have cut-ups. Like he will be able to just watch cut-ups of his defensive backs. He's not scrolling through Lib Gators TV copy. He hadn't even had time to watch Jason Marshall, Jalen Kimber, like all of the cornerbacks yet. So he had his iPad ready for his flight back to California.
Oh, he knows.
Yeah, he knows. Yeah, you got to know.
Yeah,
my mama knows.
Well, your mom's very informed, Silk.
My auntie knows, man.
Okay, I don't know. Auntie just says some sly stuff. I don't know if Auntie knows.
Auntie was judging your Chloe.
Auntie's out of pocket. Like, I know I said that. Out of pocket. But like that's going to take time. So like he came in and, hey, here are the marching orders. Here are the guys we need. Here are the guys that we're recruiting. We want them. We've already done this. So you just take marching orders. Now you're going to go in. You have ties to the West Coast, guys like that. He'll now figure out, okay, this is what I see. This is what we need. But it's a process. It's talking to him. It's a whirlwind when you take a job 2 weeks before signing day.
Yeah, well, he got out of there just in time. The Chargers fired their entire team, our entire staff, on Monday after getting blown out. So
he had a Christmas tree. What was the Christmas tree thing about that had the streets hype?
I think that's Gregory Smith, Tampa Bay.
Gregory Smith. Yep. Let's get into recruiting a little bit. I did see your question, Matt S. But I want to get to Bro Him, and that caught my attention because he's got the Gator golf logo. Nick, do you think we grab another kicker or punter out of the portal? Is Jeremy Crawshaw coming back? Is the Boomin' Onion sticking around?
The Boomin' Onion.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, Crawshaw's back. Oh, good. See, I just hit me back. He's going to be good. Crawshaw's coming back. I don't know. I was joking with him. I was like, hey, man, you can transfer to Iowa. And he's like, nobody wants to punt 80 times. I'm like, me, I want to see it. That's electric. Electric.
Oh, you got googly eyed over there. You got lucky eye.
Yeah, he did, didn't he? That's a look that it's not just a shtick. It actually there's a feeling inside.
Passion behind that.
Ooh, got goosebumps. 80 punts. That's fantastic. Crawshaw's back. He's got another year. Shout out to him. He graduated. That's pretty dope. Florida's good next year. They got the one punt.
They got Bobby Engstler. I'm not sure if that's who you're going to say. He's the number 3 punter and number 11 kicker by Coles.
Yeah, and I'll have to see. Does Florida plan on using him as just a punter and kicker? But we'll see. We'll see when he gets on campus.
Yeah, and then the Gators still have Trey Smack kicking. And hopefully he gets his mojo back after an unfortunate end of the season for him. So I don't see much in the kicker punter world yet coming, but I appreciate you, Bro Him. Matt S., thoughts on Xavier Filisame, Florida or Texas? Nick, everybody that's a member of On3 knows what you.
Everybody at On3 knows.
Dan decommitted. Dan hit the portal mid-show.
Yeah, he's out of here.
You got NIL that came through bigger than what we can offer. Oh, what's up, man?
I'm back. So sorry. So Zaire Philsame, Florida or Texas?
Thank you, Trot.
Philsame. Yeah. I put in a flip to Texas. Keith Niebuhr, Corey Bender put in flips to Texas. A couple of the Texas writers put in flips to Texas. I think anyone on our site definitely is not expecting to have Philsame in the class. I think that ship has sailed, but who knows? Anything can happen in recruiting.
Yeah. Business decisions made. Copyright said that here in the comments. I mean, it's an opportunity. Texas is playing for a spot in the national
copyright with a K. That's fun.
Yeah,
That's
copyright with a K.
With so much pun in it.
But Zaire Philsame, we will find out on early National Signing Day, but all things trend to him not being a part of this class.
How true is it that his high school coach is getting a job at Texas? I know his high school coach is lying. Not at all?
Not at all. Literally no basis in reality.
That's why I love Twitter, man. Just like facts that aren't facts. But yeah, you just never know what's going on in recruiting. It does look like the buzz and the trend is Texas. And also, you just don't know what's going on in our recruiting. I think they're doing a good job of just keeping us out of the know. I don't think Billy is letting shit leak out right now. We're finding out last minute with a whole lot of stuff. Like last night, we just didn't know what the hell was going on. Like, I thought that kid was going to Washington. He went to Washington, said he was going to make an announcement. The Trikweze kid, and even Slackman. I didn't think we had a shot at that until yesterday, and it started. The buzz picked back up. So I don't know. It does look like Texas right now, as well as Amarius Williams. It looks like he's trending toward Auburn right now. But we'll see how it all plays out. He's been tweeting WDE all weekend, which is War Game Eagle. So we'll see what's up with it on signing day.
I thought it was weak side defensive end.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's
a lot more sense. I thought he was going to
put the bird up there.
For bird. Bird. Yeah, just hawking. Right? He's going to be a ball.
NIL. That's it. He's putting his brand out there.
I need Auburn, right? And CI is about to hop in. I need Auburn to pick a mascot. You can't have an eagle and a tiger. First off, neither very original. Second, you can't have both.
We get a backup,
right? So pick one or the other. You know what I mean? It's like having the Florida Gators and like a dolphin.
That one year with Zook, Florida had the backup mascot with the crocodile.
That's back when we didn't have Photoshop. We were just picking things up, putting them on Microsoft Paint and everything else. So now,
Florida Crocodiles,
shout out to our staff, right? They know the difference. All right, let's get Cornelius Ingram, friend of the program, state championship winning head coach, CI.
Not me.
What's up, brother?
Yo, what's up, fellas? How y'all doing?
Black guy, Dan. Guess what?
Say what? Yeah, I'm trying to switch it out. You both have illustrious beards, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it, man. Mine's got a little bit more gray in it.
CI's beard's holding on to that color. Like you didn't get the memo, CI. You need to put some grays in there.
When you win, you don't stress.
A couple of grays.
Yeah,
you win it, you stress, man. So
I wish. Popping up yet. I wish.
All right.
Well, first off, congratulations. We mentioned it a little bit before at the top of the show. 25-game winning streak.
Yeah,
is that right? 25-game winning streak, back-to-back championships. So congratulations to you and Hawthorne. It's quite an accomplishment.
I appreciate it, man. It's definitely, an honor to be on with you guys. I'll be watching from afar, and then I really enjoy it. And then, of course, my team has been pretty good the last couple of years. Our last loss was a state championship 2 years ago against Madison County. So for us to beat Madison County this year in the state championship game, of course, it was huge for the program, but probably even bigger for our community.
So CI, if I'm reading this right, you've played for the state championship 4 years in a row?
4 years in a row. Yep, 4 years in a row.
4 years in a row. Won the last two, probably on track to win the next 10 or 11 in a row.
Yeah,
But also,
I hope so.
Yeah, also brought the Hawthorns girls basketball team a state championship in 2020 and 2023. So, CI, how big are your fingers to hold all these rings that you got on them these days?
They're pretty big, man. They're pretty big.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing, man, I really mean this in the most humble way. And normally when somebody says something like that, they're probably about to say something cocky. But I love where our program. Yeah, I just love where the program is right now, football and girls basketball, and then of course boys basketball have been carrying out school for the last maybe 10, 15 years. My older brother, he's my offensive coordinator, he's the head boys basketball coach. So he's been keeping the school afloat for the longest until football finally turned around and we picked up some momentum with girls basketball. But I have a really good chance to making a lone state playoff run next year. I have a lot of good returning players in football. Just getting into girls basketball where I have a lot of returning girls who played on the state championship team last year who, might be a junior or a sophomore. So we're going to keep this train running in all three of those sports, that's for sure.
And I have some friends who live out in Hawthorne. They were telling me when you got there, it was an F school. Some people talking about maybe shutting down the school because of the way that it was performing. Yep. How much has sports and not just football, the girls basketball team, boys basketball team, how much do you think that your program, the athletic program at Hawthorne, has just united the community and kind of helped the community? I know, what is it called? Bob's Burger or the Burger Barn. Burger Barn. You guys are wearing. Yeah. I've eaten Burger Barn before, but I see that you guys are repping that at the state championship. It seems like the community is supporting you guys, and you guys are trying to help and bring something back positive to the community. Because, like, where would those kids have gone to school if the school would have shut down?
Oh man, no, you're talking about a Netflix documentary, all in itself. I try to give myself a little free promotion.
Let's interview Nick now.
It's about.
All right, we'll wait for CI to hop back in. Oh, there he is. All right.
No, but you're absolutely right. The school was on the verge of being shut down. 5-6 years ago, receiving the letter grade we received. It was bad, man. No one wanted to play football here. The team was only made up of maybe 15, 16 players. So, once I took over, I had a team meeting and the guys who were returning, I stressed how important it was for us to start fast because, football is a fall sport. So once you get back to school, you're right into it. I just felt like we had to have a fast start. The morale of the school up, the energy. Whenever the state testing came around, we needed to make sure everyone showed up to school on time. Didn't miss any days because all that stuff played a part in our school letter grade. So we knew how important it was for us to have a fast start. And when I tell you my kids, they bought in. Of course, the regular students did their part as well. And it definitely started with great administration. We had a lot of great people in place to help improve our school letter grade and to improve our entire community. So for us to go through those dark times and just knowing where we came from to see where we are now academically, of course, athletically, it speaks volumes to the people who played a huge part in it.
Man,
and
you live in real life.
Sorry, man.
No, go ahead.
I think athletics obviously gets a lot of the credit, but like you mentioned, the administrators, the teachers that are in there. But like athletics can be the engine that gets things going. Like, hey, the football team's good. If I miss class this morning, I can't practice today, so I gotta I gotta get my butt into that class. And Coach CI might not play me on Friday if I come home with that F grade.
Yeah, I walk to class. I'm one phone call away, email away. I walk into classrooms, and again, most of the time it has absolutely nothing to do with my athletes because they know what time it is, right? So it's regular students who parents I might know. There's friends of my family who I might know someone that they're related to, whatever, right? It's not just about athletics here for us, but I can't say this. Most of my guys easily 3.0 grade point average or higher. So I have really, really smart kids. I have dual enrollment kids who, of course, take courses over at Santa Fe. I have a lot of guys in arm classes. There's not a whole lot of bad things happening to my athletes because, again, I hold them accountable. My coaching staff hold them accountable as well. And probably most importantly, they hold each other accountable because there's no way you can act up in school all day and not turn in your assignment from a certain class, and you're gonna go out there and play the right coverage. There's always it's almost impossible. It's almost impossible to know exactly what you're doing on offense, whether it's a blocking scheme, whether it's combinations that we're doing. It's almost impossible for you to just act however you want to act in school and then turn that switch on out on the football field. So I have some outstanding young men that I get to coach every single day. And the parents here, the guardians here, they trust me enough and they let me do it my way. And I think that's why we've had a lot of success.
Man, you live in a real life lean on me movie, man. You like Joe Clark out there, bro.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, no, for sure. Yep.
I think it's dope the way you guys flip the entire program, the communities all behind you. You got hell of a support out there as well. So who you are, what you're doing, the support you're getting from the community, and because I know you could go coach on a higher level, and you're staying there because of deeper things in football and all of that.
Yeah.
So just speak on that, the support you're getting from the community and what's keeping you from going to like the collegiate level.
Listen, the community support is like no other. When you just brought it up, and I got chills through my body because I can just speak on my last 2 state championship teams. Last year going into the state championship game, there's always something I'm trying to motivate the kids with to get them going before games. Of course, the bigger games for sure. But last year in particular, I named off all of the things that went on from that summer leading up to state championship night, and I can just name a couple of them, 8 kids transferred from Hawthorne who were actually, I think 4 of them was actually starters. One was a first cousin of mine. I had guys flip over in the vehicle 3-4 times, totaled the vehicle. All 4 guys got out with no scratch. I had guys, one guy dad passed away during the year. Didn't miss a day of school, didn't miss a day of practice because he wanted to be around the team. I had another guy, dad sick all year during the football season, passed away state championship night on our way to the stadium. I mean, it's so much stuff, so many distractions, so many things happen. And at the end of my message, I told my guys, so we're just going to relax and play football. Because if we weren't supposed to be here, we wouldn't be here. And that's the guys who probably could have lost their lives, and guys who probably could have checked out mentally because what they were going through with relatives or their fathers. And when you build a real brotherhood, there's a lot of my guys, man, people have walked out of their lives. So it's hard for them to trust anyone. So most of the time when I'm asking them to do something, okay, coach, when? Oh, you want me to run through that wall with no pads? Sure. Because it's deeper than football with myself and then even my amazing coaching staff behind me as well. If they have an animal that they're presenting with our ag program, we'll go lean on the fence and check that animal out. or if they're playing another sport, we'll show up. If they're involved in something, another after-school activity or something at church, right, we show up because a lot of these kids really, really need us. And I know how important I am. I know the type of impact I've had on a lot of their lives here. So it is hard to walk away from them because you're talking about kids who people say probably wouldn't amount to anything, and now you see them with Division I scholarships. You see them in the military. I kid you not, if you guys ever make it to a regular season game, definitely a playoff football game, there's 30 to 35 former players of mine on the sideline. Pants pulled up, haircut, right? Shaved beard, in the military, in school, playing football, or just in school getting their education, or just working with their Letterman jacket on, right? Because they feel like they were a part of something special. And even if they didn't win the state championship, my first 2-3 years, those are the guys who actually changed the culture of our football program. And man, when I tell you, before I took over, we were getting the brakes beat off us. Oh no, laughing stock of high school football, and just to see where it is now is definitely a blessing.
Even that first year, you were having you were taking some punches.
I went 5-5, took some punches from some really good programs, but I felt like the culture was changing. I feel like guys were buying in, and it's hard to buy in when you don't know how, or you've never really had that success doing it. So we had to stay firm with our guys. There were a lot of long night talks where I'm with my coaches, and we're always game planning or just talking about guys' attitudes, what they have going on at home, because it's a reason why kids act out. And we wanted to understand them and get to really know them, so the football part can be their outlet, and that's what we try to do, man. Make Hawthorne football really fun to come out and watch, and I think we've been able to do that over the years.
I almost see some similarities there. Sorry, Dan, real quick, with like the college football level right now and where Florida's at. When you start and you're taking over, like, hey, we have to put some work in. You might not see the results right now, but if you stick it out, you can be part of what turned this around. With the transfer portal, you're seeing some guys who are like, you know what, coach, that's a cool story, but I'm going to go somewhere else that's already established. So I think as a coach, it's kind of getting that message across, and some guys will listen to it, some won't.
No, that's 100% accurate. I think, Netflix reached out about the Swamp King documentary. I turned it down because I didn't know the angle, and then I didn't feel comfortable. I really didn't want to do it anyway. But you talk about one of the top college coaches, of course, when he was coaching with Urban Meyer. I remember when he came in. Man, it's a lot of talent here. I got to get these guys to buy in. So they touched on it during the documentary where he took everything away from us, right? All of our Gator gear, right? All of that stuff where guys had to wear their own workout clothes, and then you got to go home and wash them, right? Then after a while, guys got fed up with washing them, so they'll just repeat the same thing they had on. Now it's starting to smell, and guys got tired of that, right? They didn't want to smell the bad workout clothes, and guys were like, "Yo, we got to buy in, because if we just put it back on our loop, put it in our bin, right, we'll have a brand new set tomorrow, or it'll be clean." Like, so he made us earn the right to be a Gator. He made us earn that right to be a Gator. And a lot of things that I learned from, of course, Urban Meyer, Billy Donovan as a basketball coach with my short period of time playing there. I use it today as a coach. And you talk about a lot of those things that I learned from them hitting home to my players. No, absolutely. So I was fortunate enough to be around some great college coaches, and I wanted to implement all of this into my coaching style once I started as a head coach.
CI, I want to talk. Your starting quarterback is your son, so it's been really cool to watch him, and obviously he had a great year, just under 3,000 yards passing. What's it been like to mentor him and to watch him grow? And now he's getting looked at by some colleges, but what's that experience been like with a father-son?
Best ever. And my younger son came over this year. So this was his first year with us, but CJ has been here the entire time. So, just watching CJ grow, right? I mean, he's probably 6'5.5", almost 6'6", right? Watching his, just his physical, his frame, I would always get caught up and not understanding how young he is the way I coached him. And probably 70% of my coaching staff are Hawthorne alum, right? They probably went off to college and got their degrees and came back, and they're teaching and coaching with me. So a lot of these guys I play with, or they watch me play up close in person. So there's times on a Friday night, man, right? My brother would walk by me, my D coordinator who played ball with me here. It's like, yo, you didn't do that when you was that age, or you didn't look that smooth doing it. Right. So just to see him make plays on the same exact field, wear the same exact number. You talk about one of the best feelings ever. And it's definitely a dream come true. And I will say this, I think me coaching him now at this level helped me better as a father, because it was hard for me to take my coaching hat off going home. I'll be completely honest. I'm probably one of the most competitive guys ever. So, right, I live in Gainesville, so we have a 35-minute hike every day there and back. Well, he has his own car now.
Depending on how practice went, he was like, you know what, Dad, exactly. I'm gonna stay at somebody's house out here. We don't need to drive back home.
Yeah, my parents are still here, and my older brother, he was like, oh, I'm gonna stay with because he knows, like, yo, he's getting coached up all the way home. If he's washing dishes, I'm still coaching him up. If he's taking out the trash, I'm coaching him up. Homework, video games, I'm going in his room, coaching him up. But I had to take a back seat because I knew the type of impact I had on his life. And, right, I bought number 7 out of retirement so he can play in it. They retired my basketball jersey here as well. I bought that out of retirement so he could play in it. So, and that's what he wanted to do.
And
you're talking about the way he feels about me. I already know. The way he cares about me, I already know. I didn't want CJ to resent the game of football or basketball because I didn't know how to take my coaching hat off at home, driving home. So I had to take a back seat because I knew just the love of the game that he had. And I was like, yo, we're not talking about football on the way home. I'm going to give him his space once he goes into his room because, right, I'm also a coach where I have to deal with parents. So now I hear the players talk about their parents. And I'm like, yo, I don't want this to be CJ. Right. So I've learned so much just coaching him and coaching these young men, because at the end of the day, I tell people all the time, if you lose that interest and the game isn't fun anymore, right, why are you playing? At the end of the day, that has to be the most important part of it. You still got to have fun doing it, even when you're preparing, even when you're watching film, even when you're working out during the summer. So it's definitely fun, man. I think this year was probably the best year because, this is the second state championship. And I know we probably have a little time. I want to share this quick story. My high school coach, when I was a sophomore in high school here, Kent Johnson, he went to Gainesville East Side. And at that time, I was rated one of the top players in football and basketball. And I was looking to transfer to go to Gainesville East Side. And I talked with my parents. All of the players here at Hawthorne at the time, they were going to transfer with me. So I called coach and I let him know, like, yo, I'm putting in my paperwork tomorrow morning. We'll be over at GHS by tomorrow afternoon. I mean, at Gainesville Eastside, I'm sorry, by tomorrow afternoon. He said, nah. He said, you need to finish what you started at Hawthorne, and they need you more. Again, I'm one of the top players in the country in two sports at this time. And I kid you not, he said, there's something special for you in Hawthorne, and you'll see it. Had no idea what he was talking about.
That's real.
The last loss that I just told you guys about was against Madison County. Before that game, he came into the locker room. He said something to the team, my school coach. After that, of course, we ended up losing by 1 point. We had a bad snap right at the end of the game to punt the ball away. If we just get the punt off, we win the football game. Had a young punter all year. If it's high, if it's low, you pick it up and you get it off. The ball rolled to him. By the time he picked it up and tried to kick the ball, it was blocked. Rolled to about the 5-yard line. I think we probably stopped them maybe the first 2 plays. They scored and win the game. After that game was probably one of the toughest losses I've ever encountered in my entire life. So I was emotional. Of course, the players were emotional. My high school coach, while everyone else walked out of that stadium with the attitude or upset that we lost, he stayed around and he came into the locker room to talk to the team again. This is a true story. By the time we stayed overnight in Tallahassee, by the time I got to the hotel, we feed the kids. I'm up. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. He texted me. He said, I feel your pain right now, and I know what you're thinking. He said, but I don't think it was our time. He said, I really feel in my heart those state championships will come with your son at quarterback. Listen, I kid you not, and we're going to fast forward. I kid you not. And I'm like, yo, man, we should have won the game. What coach talking about? I kid you not. I kid you not. This is a true story. My son was like maybe the 3rd guy. I had 2 older guys, but he had to be maybe in the 8th grader or something like that. So we fast forward to the quarterback at that time, was a Division I guy. He came to my office. He said, I'm transferring. I want to go somewhere. I want, he ended up going to Lake City, Columbia. They had some great receivers, right? We were running the ball. I had a big physical offensive line. We were running the football, and it was nothing towards the kid, right? Parents, they're going to do what's best for their kid. I totally understand. So when he walked into my office and he told me that, I said, maybe God is showing me a sign. I promise you, I said, now CJ has to be my starting quarterback. Right? So all this is happening before some of the other guys transferred, before some of the accident where the guys are flipping over in the car. So when we got there that next year, I knew it was already done. I knew we were going to win the game. I knew we were going to win the game because my high school coach said he felt that in his heart. And you talk about the first 2 state championships ever in school history came with my son as a starting quarterback. Doesn't get any better than that. Doesn't get any better than that.
Your former high school coach has the script. I don't know who gave it to him, but he has the script.
He has the script. No, he has it. He had it. So he's still around. He's still around. So of course he ended up coming to, I think maybe the game before the state championship game. I wanted him to speak to the team, but he was like, well, I haven't said anything all year, but I'll come in the locker room before the game. Once he came in, I gave him a state championship ring from last year with his name on it, and the girls' state championship ring with his name on it from last year as well. He was also the head football coach at Hawthorne and the head girls basketball coach at Hawthorne when I was in school.
Let's
talk about that. Sure. It's a movie, man.
Yeah, it's definitely a movie, man. This is like Lean on Me, Coach Carter.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, man.
We got to get it moving
man,
quick because Denzel's got to play somebody. So we got to get them. Yeah. We got to get the movie rights, the script written quickly.
So what's the you played quarterback in high school, right? And baseball guy, but you end up switching positions to tight end. What's your forecast with junior? What's the plan there?
Now, he's a better basketball player. So he has some offers in basketball. He has some offers in football. As a parent, we sat down and we actually talked last week. And I was just trying to pick his brain to see exactly what he wanted to do, because I honestly thought after the first state championship, he would want to just focus on basketball. He's on one of those Nike Elite AAU teams where they're traveling and playing in front of college coaches every weekend during the summer. And I knew his love for basketball was a little different for football. So I wanted to honor that as a parent, like, yo, like, we've kicked the door in, right? We've established ourselves as a really good top football team in the state of Florida, I believe, in all classes. Like I said, yo, you can focus on basketball if you want. So he's taking some time to think about it as far as going into next year. But you talk about a legit 6'5", probably 200-pound athlete, and I think he can play another position for sure. So, right, we ain't tripping if that was the case, but I want to honor, him having the opportunity to play basketball if that's what he want to do, and focus on that as far as going to school and playing on the next level. But I think he can play quarterback at the next level. I think he can play another position. Really smart kid, very athletic. Probably the most important thing is, right, he just has that it factor. Like, we've never worked with a quarterback coach. We've never been to all these camps where these guys are getting ranked and all that kind of stuff. We haven't been anywhere. So there are some things I think he's missed out on because of his basketball schedule. Some of the things we try to do with our football team here during the summer. So he's not at any of these individual camps. So, right, he has some really good offers from good schools who has just seen his film or probably came out to practice during the spring. But just as far as working with a QB coach and doing all the fundamental stuff, right, I was a lead 11 quarterback, so there's some things I remember or I know from playing the position, but I know what he can be when it's just truly hands-on, right? He can throw it, he can run, great size, smart kid, and again, he has that it factor. So I don't want to say we're trying to wait it out, but he's taking some time to just think about it again. I feel like I have a really good football team next year, even if he doesn't play. But of course, with me being the head football coach, I would love for him to
shuffling
be out
the
there
hats
with me.
Shuffling dad and coach hats.
Yeah. But I totally understand. I want to at least honor that and give him the opportunity to make his own decision, whatever he feels in his heart to do. Because at the end of the day, that's what it's about.
Yep.
Yeah. See, I want to give a quick shout out. Your son, I just found his Twitter, 3.9 GPA, 4.6 weighted. So killing it in the classroom too. So those opportunities.
What happened to that 1B?
All the doors open.
I know.
What
right?
happened to that? What happened to that 1B?
I probably should have went to the class. Hey, what's going on? What do we need to do to boost this up?
Yeah. What's the extra credit?
Yes. And that's the thing, like me being dad and being right, I'm pretty young. So right, I know what these guys are listening to. I know what they're wearing. And I never try to stand in the hallways to cramp their style, especially, having two boys here, right? They probably want to talk to a girl in the hallway. So I always try to just stay in my office and stay out their way unless I get a phone call. But of course, it's never a bad phone call with mine or even the other football players. Not anything crazy anyway. But that's the luxury of being in a small campus, man. I think we work hand in hand with administration, with our teachers. And it's vice versa, right? If they need me, again, like I said earlier, to just encourage a non-athlete, right? That's what I'm here for. And I think that makes our campus one of the best campuses, right, in the state of Florida, because not only myself, but if I have 10, 12 coaches, maybe 7 or 8 of them are certified teachers here on campus, right? And that helps us with game plan. That helps us when we're watching film. That helps us with discipline stuff, right? Because a lot of coaches don't work on campus, and the first time you see your kid is out at practice and they've ran through campus all day. The first time you see them is at practice, right? And they've been doing all kind of crazy stuff during the course of the day. Like, nah, we can nip stuff in the bud early. Then once it's time to get out to practice, we can really just focus on football.
Now we, I have to ask, because people constantly blow up. As soon as you win a state championship, they want you on Florida staff. We've already talked about everything you've done in the community. At what point, though, would you ever consider, like, hey, maybe I've done enough. There's something. I'm not leaving the community. I know that I'm leaving it in good hands. At some point, would you consider, hey, the next step for me might be to try coaching at college, or if the NFL comes calling for a position coach down the line?
Absolutely.
What would be your thought process?
Absolutely. And I've had like certain schools reach out to me. Listen, almost, I think maybe 3 Georgia schools, high school Georgia schools, reached out last week. Right, some colleges have reached out in the past as well, but it's definitely something I think about a lot, and I really want to do it. Like, I really want to do it. CJ will be a senior next year again. Like, if the right opportunity presented itself, right, it's a dream of mine to coach college football. I mean, especially right if the opportunity came up right down the road.
Wouldn't have to pack, wouldn't have to move.
Nah, it'd be perfect. It'll be the perfect situation. But I heard someone probably whispered it in the background, but about passing the torch and making sure the right person is in place. And I think there are some people here in place now. Right, we have a ton of young talent. The makeup of these assistant coaches here, I think that core will stay together. And a lot of people ask all the time, like, why am I having so much success? When I took over as the head coach, 9 years ago, Urban Meyer had the lake house in Melrose, Florida, which is right 10 minutes from here, and he invited me over with him and his wife. We had dinner, and the first thing he said, he was like, "Whatever you do, let your assistant coaches do their job." And I was, I was hesitant to speak right away. And he said, he's like, "Man, I know guys." And as soon as I got into it and I started, like, hearing about other high school jobs and what was going on. Oh, the head coach is coaching the offense. He's coaching the defense. He's running the special teams. Nobody on staff has any say-so. And I'm like, yo, I'm glad I'm not like that. So 2 years, last summer, there was a coach in general reach out about joining my coaching staff. So I was a little tied up, so I missed his call a couple times. So once we finally got on the phone, he said, "Coach, you never asked me why I wanted to join your staff." And in my head, I was like, well, I got a good program. Right? We're kind of making some state championship runs. Yeah. So
you want a ring. That's what you want.
Yeah. I was really trying to figure it out. And I asked him, I said, well, yeah, tell me why. He said, "I know coaches in Alachua County. I know a coach on every staff at every Alachua County school. I know a coach at every school in Marion County." He said, "I've never heard your assistant coaches say anything bad or negative about you." He said, "Coach, I don't think you heard me." I got quiet. He's like, "Coach, I don't think you heard me. I've been out at certain events, right? We probably, he said we probably threw a couple back, right? They had the floor. They could have said anything they wanted to. They said, I've never heard a coach on your coaching staff say anything negative about you. And he said, I know a coach at every school in Alachua County. I know a coach at every school in Marion County. And it probably wasn't anything malicious that they were saying about the head coach, but, right, we don't always agree. I promise you on calls, whether it's defensively, offensively, but I have the utmost respect for my assistant coaches. First of all, as a man, right? So if players see division on the sideline, it's going to be division in your locker room with the players. And I think that has helped us so much. Probably a piece of advice I always keep with me. And right, it was pretty simple what Urban was telling me, but it was true. I let my guys do their job. Even if we don't disagree, we come up with the right solution that we think that will help the team or whatever the kid is facing in that certain situation, whether it's on or off the field, matters. So I know I've been rambling, but of course, to answer your question, yeah, college football is definitely on my radar. But I definitely feel like I have some good coaches in place that I can pass this torch to whenever that opportunity presents itself.
As a high school coach, you've dealt with the transfer portal and a little bit of that business, guys making business decisions. What do you feel about the culture of college football right now? I think it's a totally different world. You know, rosters are getting flipped annually. What do you think about just transfer portal, NIL, and all of that right now?
I mean, that CI NIL brand would have been heavy. Back in 03, 04.
Doubling down on the baseball and the football.
I'm pretty close with a lot of the guys I played with at UF, and we have group chats, and then we speak all the time. B. James, Murph. I was just with Spikes last week. All the guys, right? At some point, we touch base, and we always talk about, you know, what if when we were in school and this the NIL stuff presented itself. It's always tough for me to speak on it. I'll be honest with you guys, because I don't want to feel like the bitter former player.
Old head.
The old head who's upset that they didn't have the opportunity. But I know for a fact when we were coming through, it was just right, the genuine love of the game, right, the passion. Hopefully, you know, the opportunity to make it to the league, to set my family up if possible. Now a lot of these kids are setting up their families as 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds. And just my honest opinion, I think the joy of the game has faded and it's kind of watered down. The transfer portal, I think it is what it is, because I mean, of course, I'm not saying that we're on the level as the NCAA or college football, but I've also lost players in the transfer portal. I've gained some players as well, but through my gaining, a lot of these kids come from other programs, and once they get here, they learn more football. Once they get here, we're really holding them accountable. Like they have to do their schoolwork, and then they have to have a certain amount of time they have to watch film on our huddle account, and we can go in and see how much film they watch when they go home, right? Because if you're not watching film at home or on your spare time, you don't even know who you're lined up across from on Friday night. So we prepare better than a lot of high school teams in the state, all classes. But on the college level, man, I love that the kids have these opportunities to you know, make this kind of money and help their families out. I just wish the love of the game was the same, right? Because a lot of these kids feel like, oh, well, I don't have to work as hard. I don't have to do all X, Y, and Z because I already got the bag, and you know, my parents are already set up. So that's the only tough part about it, man. I'm all for it as far as letting the kids make the money or what have you, but I just wish it was like when we were playing. It was the love of the game is totally different. I don't think too many kids really care after losses. I mean, listen.
Right.
We wouldn't go out in Gainesville if we lost a football game, right? I see guys all the time after bad losses. Yeah, like, yo, I'm not even showing my face, so
when the boys be on IG, like
going in,
like, man, I gotta go enjoy my life as a fan. Like, they're not even up
yes,
man.
Yes,
I gotta go touch the grass.
Yes. So, again, like I said, it's always kind of touchy to even speak on it because I never want to seem like the bitter old head, but times has changed, and I understand that. I understand that because, right, I thought it was something to be on Facebook when I got in college, right? Because technology was changing, the internet was changing, and right, I thought Facebook was the best thing ever. So of course, right, it's more advanced. There's so much more stuff involved. I can't even imagine what the coaches have to do or go through because a lot of coaches are old school. So right, to sell a kid, right, you'll be able to make this amount of money, or we have this plan for you. I know it's tough for some of these old school coaches, right, who really just want to coach the game of football and help these guys mature as young men and all that kind of stuff. But now you got to sell, hey, we got this amount of combination jerseys, right? We'll have this car out on the 50-yard line that you can take pictures with. So you just have to adjust to everything that's going on in college football. I'll be honest and say this. I am happy and glad that even without the bag, I was able to come up around the time I did because again, you talking about the pure love of the game and enjoy it. I was around a lot of guys who love football, not only players, coaches, the media people who were on staff at the time at the University of Florida during my time. I really believe they love being there. So that's my opinion.
You probably got to Philly, you get to the NFL, and then you realize that football is a business. Well, hey, I'm getting the bag now, but also now I'm just a number. I'm just a number to these people, and maybe now you're just getting into that business earlier, 17, 18, 19, 20 years old.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly what it's now. And you talking about soon as you leave high school, the game is fun anymore. I hate to say it that way because I don't want people to think, man, upset. No, that's not it. I'm definitely not saying that. But once you get into college now, you're absolutely right. It's more of a business side than it is, right? Just like real genuine fun playing college football.
Absolutely. Well, gentlemen, CI, man, I appreciate your time today.
Thank you,
it's always great to hear from you, man. You always drop words of wisdom, and really enjoyed the conversation with you today. Congratulations on all your success, man. Congratulations on your kids' success as well. It's going to be really cool to watch them continue to grow, and we certainly wish you the best of luck, my friend. And then, as always, we'll welcome you on the program, man. It's been good to have you on 3 or 4 times now. So appreciate your time.
Thanks, fellas, man.
This morning, man. Happy holiday.
Yes, sir. Appreciate y'all, man.
Appreciate you, CI. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you too.
All right, guys. All right.
Happy Kwanzaa.
Cornelius Ingram. All of them.
All of them, man. Yeah.
So we do apologize. Certainly, dealing with internet, sometimes it's great. I think for the most part, the audio was good. I know that there was a couple breakups there, but always good to hear from CI, man. Incredible story.
That movie, man. Like, that's a movie, bro. Shout out to that coach, bro.
Yeah, shout out to my boy Kaysen, lives out in Hawthorne, kind of told me a little bit about that story and like what the school was like and what it was going through. Like Hawthorne's someone got in my mentions, like congratulating them, and they're like, they're not rural. They have a bunch of kids from Gainesville. They're beating up on these other actual rural teams. I'm like, you see his internet connection? Hawthorne's rural, my guy. Hawthorne's out there.
Been to that Burger Barn too. Great place.
Burger Barn's awesome.
Yeah, on my way back from maybe on the way back from Atlanta or something. I was going to come back to Tampa, and the road took me off through Hawthorne. We were hungry, and I'm like, man, let's go check this place out. Fantastic.
They got vegan options?
No,
I don't know.
brother, we're talking about 40 minutes outside of Gainesville. They can't even get like a real census of Hawthorne. You're definitely not getting vegan options at a place called Burger Barn.
I think CI can make that happen for me. CI, man, get some vegan options at the Burger Barn.
But shout out to Casey because he kind of put me on to like what the school and the community was going through. When you're out there and that high school shuts down, like you just might not go to high school. Like you might just stop after middle school. Yeah. So the football program, the basketball program, the athletics program at Hawthorne, what they've been able to do has really helped invigorate and enrich the entire community of Hawthorne. So CI has definitely played a big part in that.
Fire. Legendary shit, man.
Shout out to George. You're going to get to a couple comments. That was the best interview ever. So move
Thanks,
over
George.
Diane Sawyer, in Stadium and Gale with Cornelius Ingram. So appreciate you guys for watching.
Brian Gumble.
Yeah, Brian Gumble. Skinny Brian Gumble now. Very skinny Brian Gumble. All right, let's get into a couple quick ad reads here. Homefieldapparel.com, promo code Stadium and Gale at checkout, 15% off of your order. Holiday season, about 100 different colleges and universities that are out there, as well as a couple of NFL programs. So go check out homefieldapparel.com. They have about 20 different options for the University of Florida, including one of those cool Bomber 1980 retro style jackets as well. So again, homefieldapparel.com, promo code Stadium and Gale. Check out 15% off of your order. Best vintage logos out there. And then want to give a quick shout out to our friends over at Alumni Hall. Go visit them in Gainesville on Archer Road. Or online, obviously, at alumnihall.com. The best for accessories, clothing, tailgate supplies, gifting, whatever it might be. So alumnihall.com. If you're in Gainesville, go stop by for the Gator in your family for the holiday season. All right, gentlemen, let's get into some early signing day shenanigans, which is on Wednesday. Say what?
Do we have to?
We don't have to.
Signing day.
So
we gotta stop calling it early signing day? Like the other one's like late.
Yeah, the other one's just like
this is signing day.
Extra credit.
Yeah, this is the big one. So most of the Gators commits are going to sign on Wednesday, which is December the 20th. So this is what we've got so far. DJ Lagway was on campus this weekend. Everything looks to be locked and loaded with DJ. Obviously, Texas A&M, Clemson, a few other schools have gone after him, tried to reach out, tried to schedule some visits, but he was in Gainesville. Said a lot of just very positive things about Billy Napier, said he couldn't imagine playing for any other coach. So DJ Lagway does look like he will be in. And I know one of his wide receivers, who was his top wide receiver, is a preferred walk-on to the University of Florida as well. LJ McCray, Auburn, Florida State, hanging around. But does look like the Gators will hold on to him from Daytona Beach, from Mainland High School. Isaiah Williams, the wide receiver, did visit Texas A&M this weekend. The Gators still seem positive about him. I'm not looking at the screen, so if you're laughing at me, just keep going. So those are some top ones. And then Gregory Smith, the safety, is going to announce on Wednesday, and the Gators sit in a good spot with him. He's the 4-star safety out of Riverview, which is right outside of Tampa, here in the 813. So any thoughts on those comments?
I'm getting
is the wide receiver.
I think obviously the three highest rated guys are DJ Lagway, LJ McCray, and then Xavier Filsaime. We talked about Xavier Filsaime. Think that ship has sailed, but holding on to DJ, that's your franchise. That's the future of the program. That's a guy who I continue saying I think you can win championships with. I don't know if it's bad luck to do it, but DJ was doing his photo shoot, holding the Heisman yesterday in Gainesville. Put those pictures out. And then LJ McCray, again, can't say it enough. These are the kind of commitments you need to be winning, the kind of battles you need to be winning against Georgia and against Alabama. This is a dude that can play right away. Mm-hmm. I'm not the one to hype. I'm hyping these two guys up right now. I'm not the one to hype recruits. Or anything. Not the one to hype anything, right? These are two huge commitments. And then I think Florida, obviously, you're going to lose some guys on Wednesday. And I think for the most part, the guys that you might lose Wednesday, the fans that are really tapped into recruiting won't be surprised, but there will be social media backlash if an Adarius Hayes goes to Miami, when Xavier Filsaime flips. There will be outrage. I think if you're more tapped in, you kind of know what's going to happen on Wednesday. There shouldn't be too many surprises. I do think it won't be a Wednesday announcement, but I think Florida's sitting in a good place with LJ's teammate, Zay Mincy. I think Florida's sitting in a good place with Gregory Smith down in Tampa. So there won't be too many surprises, but there should be some things that might make you raise your eyebrows.
If we swap out Zay Mincy for, they don't even play the same position, but just from a defensive back standpoint, we swap those out, Zay Mincy for Xavier Filsaime.
I think Xavier Filsaime is a 5-star athlete. I think he would have taken time to be ready to play at this level in terms of safety. I don't know that he's plug and play, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. That's just my opinion. Like he hits really hard. I just think he's a better athlete than he is a safety right now. You can say that about a lot of 18-year-olds. I'm not trying to carry Florida's water and be like, oh, they didn't need him anyway. Like it's going to hurt your class ranking. Overall class ranking.
And he's been in the class for a long time. Yeah.
And when I say that he's a better athlete than safety, like he's an elite athlete, like top 1% across the country, that kind of elite athlete.
Yes, it's tough to plug and play at safety. I don't care who you are. That's a tough position to play at the next level, especially in the SEC. It's a lot to know. Scheme wise, there's a lot of alignment that you may have to do from that position as well, depending on what scheme you're in. So regardless, it's going to be a miss. I like his athleticism, from that spot, but you lose some, you gain some. We'll see how everything plays out. I do like the Gregory Smith kid. He's coming in 6'4", also a safety. I don't expect those guys to come in and do a lot immediately. Jordan Castell did, and we seen him struggle. And that was just from a lack of good bodies at the position. But it's not ideal to want to see a true freshman play safety in the SEC. You turn into barbecue sauce real quick like that.
Yeah, so those are some nuggets there. We just talked about Xavier. Adarius Hayes did visit Miami. We'll see, right? He's been committed to the Gators for a long time. Obviously, you don't want to see him go out to Miami the week before. I know that there's a lot of people that are trending towards Miami, but obviously he stayed committed for a long time. So it's just a matter of what happens over the next few days. But Miami is certainly sitting probably in the driver's seat right now for Adarius Hayes. Yeah. Amaris Williams is a defensive lineman that has just about been on the fringe of that commit list for a few months now. He visited, I know Auburn's very heavily involved with him. I know that Amaris Williams and Florida, obviously very, very close. Florida's trying to push to the very, very end. I know Keith Niebuhr threw an RPM pick for him to go over to Auburn. But again, we'll see. Right, there's a lot that can happen over the next 3 days.
Zay Mincy it depends on who you're talking to.
He's listed as a corner, but
I think he wants to play corner. If I'm not,
he wants to play corner. So that's the other thing too. Like I get like fans wanting like, hey, what is this? What is this? But like if I tell you, or if I were to say, hey, Florida wants him as a safety, and then that starts getting out there, well, Florida might be telling him, yeah, man, corner's cool.
But they can't even play those games no more. Like you can't.
You can to get the signature, and then
they bounce. Like there's no penalty. Like you got to be honest with kids, and if the kid's saying he want to play corner, Like, I don't care what these websites or what Florida's saying. If he's saying he want to play corner, he come here to play corner, then that's what it is, because you can't hold him hostage to a scholarship anymore. He could bounce.
Yep.
Oh, and then
we wanted Kamari Wilson at linebacker, right? How'd that work out? He's at Arizona State vibe.
There you go.
That's for sure.
Same thing with Donovan McMillan.
Like, you just can't do that no more.
Wanted him at linebacker, and he's playing safety at Pitt with like 100 tackles.
Welcome to 2024, I would say already. Let's just go ahead and fast forward a little bit.
And then Jameer Grimsley is the other name. He was obviously very tight with Corey Raymond. Still visited the University of Florida recently, but is probably going to stay committed to Alabama. Running back Jordan Baugh is another name that Gator fans are familiar with, committed to Arkansas, visited Alabama this past weekend, has also visited the University of Florida. I know that there's some confidence that the Gators might be able to get that flip, but until that day happens, we will just keep that as a question mark next to his name. But certainly with the loss of ETN, who, are you guys surprised hasn't committed somewhere yet?
I mean, the teams he's probably looking at in playoffs, vibing. He just get these numbers right. Save your money, get the collectives to get all their coins together. If I could go to Georgia, I think it was Georgia, LSU is the options right now. Yeah. Auburn's in that mix. I don't know why Auburn would make sense, but I think it's Georgia, LSU.
Yeah. Yep. So that's where we sit going into early National Signing Day. Let's see. Let me just get the most up-to-date rankings. I'm like 99% positive the Gators rank 5th in the team rankings, right behind Florida State. But let me just get the most updated. Yep. So we have Georgia, Ohio State, Alabama, Florida State, Florida, Texas, Oregon, Oklahoma, Miami, and Notre Dame as of 11:37 on Monday.
SEC flavor, especially when you add in OU in Texas.
Yeah, and they'll be in the team or in the conference next year. So that's 3 of the top 5, 4, 5. So 5 of the top 10, 6 of the top 10. Pardon me.
Yeah, Grimsley put out a
LSU,
story.
Tennessee at 11, 12, and 13. Yeah. Texas A&M at 15. So of the top 15, about 10 schools in there.
And did I miss it? You mentioned Grimsley. I think he put out a story, with Bama Online, our Alabama site, saying he's done, which is weird. He said, I'm home.
A lot of people have said that. Darius Hayes has said that he's been home no less than 21 times already. So a lot can change over the next few days, especially NIL money, right? You lose somebody that you've bookmarked that money for. Beyond buying Nick Azurtek, you can maybe give these guys some of that money too. So we'll see how it happens and what happens on Wednesday. This is your yearly reminder or bi-yearly reminder. Don't tweet at recruits. It's their decision, not yours. And they will make the decision that they feel is best for them. If they choose not to go to your school, it's not personal. They don't hate you specifically. But don't give them a reason either to hate you specifically. So just be normal, be cordial, know that these are 17 and 18-year-olds, and that's all the decision. This is their decision, the decision that they choose to live with. So
if your normal is tweeting at recruits, be abnormal, please.
Yes, be abnormal. So I know there's some questions. Sorry, Silk. I know there's some questions. Nick, defensive line coach, other coaching changes. Again, I'm going to preface before you talk is the NFL season's still going on. There's a lot of coaches that still have obligations to their team through bowl season as well. But Nick, do we have any updates on any potential coaching changes?
No, nothing yet.
Okay, nothing yet. So we will see.
I mean, Hoop shit has been on a tear, man. So the Ed Orgeron just may pop back up, fellas. Let's start that back up. Why not?
No. Hoop Shiz has been posting. I know the Twitter's a buzz about who he is.
Who they are.
Who they are. I believe it's a guy, but I don't know their pronouns correct. So who they are. I know that he posted a lot, and if that's who you want to get your information from, then he's available.
Who she's like 99% from the field right now, baby.
No, stop that. No way. That's not 99%. No way.
99% from the field, bro.
No shot.
So Will Harris was announced. Hoop Shiz tweeted right before when his name was already out there that he was going to be the linebacker. I'm not going to hate on the guy. He might be plugged in. So Ed Orgeron is going to be the defensive line coach, according to him. So
that's a gigantic miss. Like that's a game.
It's not a miss. It's not a miss.
It's a miss.
Ed Orgeron
it's a miss.
It's
a miss.
Yeah, until he definitively says that he's not in. I'm going to say Hoop Shiz has got it right. Hoop Shiz.
Until proven otherwise, Hoop Shiz is right now 100% from the field.
Yeah, 100% for the field. 100%
I hate it here. I hate it here.
All right, gentlemen. So we appreciate everybody for tuning in and listening. Big show today.
No, I don't think Orgeron is coming. Tawan's about to lose his mind. Silkwood started that crap again. Nah, I don't think Orgeron is coming. It's just funny, man. Gotta enjoy yourself a little bit.
All right. I hate it here.
So Connor Ferguson said Nick is mad. Hoop Shiz is taking his spot. I agree. And then Harrison, letting everybody know the cat's out of the bag. I am Hoop Shiz.
Yeah, that's why I gotta support my friends.
Yeah. Sorry,
support my friends, man.
Yeah,
Hoopshiz.com on the way, man, for all your recruiting updates.
Hoop Shiz also did say that Xavier Filsamy is staying with the
I like Hoop Shiz.
Hoop
Shiz for fucking offensive coordinator, man.
Offensive coordinator, maybe basketball coach too. All right. So, all right, gentlemen, in Gator news, the Gators do play Michigan in basketball tomorrow, big game against them, but they are sitting in a good spot right now, healthily in the college March Madness. So right in the mix for that. So continue to watch them. They just beat ECU over in Lakeland. This
ran down on them folks.
Ran down on ECU. All right, boys. Before everybody leaves, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, share with a friend. You're now more knowledgeable at the Christmas dinner table about everything that's happening at the University of Florida. There's going to be a lot of news and things that happen over the next week. We will let you guys know, obviously, with Christmas and New Year's Day being on a Monday, we might have a little bit of a shift in the schedule, so stay tuned for that. Other than that, we appreciate you guys for watching, listening each and every week. Same corner, same time.
Who's got the song?
Oh, I've got
no song, bro. No song.
Wow, man.
The money Jackson is hitting the portal too from USC, and the streets are already saying that Will Harris is followed. So let's keep an eye on that as well.
What did Hoop Shiz say?
He hasn't put in the prediction yet, but I got
collecting data still.
Yeah, he got to hit all the message boards first, then he'll let us know. Smart.
What's a good? It's Christmas time. What's a good? I'll surprise everybody. I'm going to think about it. I'll let Cam know. Gucci Mane Christmas album.
Dan's going to go. David Guetta Electronic Christmas.
Cascade has a Christmas album. That's
House Christmas is crazy, man.
Yeah. I went to the yoga that I went to on Monday or on Saturday. Pardon me. Was an EDM themed Christmas. Yeah. Oh yeah. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer was bumping with some drum and bass behind it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right. I'll
Ollie
let
the
Cam
Red-Nosed
know.
Reindeer.
I got to get got to get a good one. So stay tuned. Listen to the whole thing. So, all right, gentlemen. Harrison, I see you. Dan Shiz will let us know. So we'll let you guys know what's happening on the streets.
Real quick before we get out of here, Bargatze. Great suggestion, fellas. That's the dude's hilarious, man.
Who?
And he's also
Nate Bargatze? Yeah,
Nate Bargatze, man, hilarious, bro. Like no cursing, like super clean. When y'all told me he was clean, I was like, I don't know. I like my comedy with a little raunchiness to it. But dude is next level with the delivery.
The delivery makes it.
Man, he's hilarious, man. So if you haven't checked out Bargatze, definitely check him out, man. Hilarious.
And guys, if you're listening to this late in the show, tweet pictures of Dan and Nate together.
They brothers.
Pretty sure they're cousins, brothers, same family tree.
I wish, man. We got some people say we have similar delivery. Talk
similar delivery. I felt like I was watching you do a stand-up special, bro. I'm gonna be honest with you.
I'll tell you what, man. We both struggle with eating healthy and then losing a bunch of weight, then packing it right back on. So we're practically the same person. So I'll take. I've never been told I look like a famous person. Too ugly for it, but yeah. So I'll take Nate.
Dan's going like full Soldier Boy on the Breakfast Club. He stole my whole flow.
Yeah, he stole my whole flow.
He listens to Stadium and Gale.
All right, boys. We'll see you guys soon.